Buying, selling, and flipping sports cards on the COMC has never been easier. And that's why in today's episode, I'm going over the top 5 reasons why I made $1,500 in just 2 months. Hello and welcome everyone back to yet another episode of Red Cape Sports. My name is Bert Bouchard, and in today's episode, I'm going over one of my favorite platforms, COMC. Because guys, the last 2 months, despite me using this platform for right around 4 or 5 months, I haven't been using it nearly as much as I should have been up until the last 2 months. But ultimately, the last 2 months, I was able to successfully make $1,500 in sales in just, again, 2 months. So in today's episode, I am going to be sharing with you my top 5 ways that I was successfully able to build my way up to $1,500 American worth of sales. Now, I also want to mention that I didn't go ahead and just fund my account right away, Ultimately, being a student, being, just very young, I don't have the money to just go out and fund my account. I didn't necessarily have $50 cards, $100 cards, even higher like my brother Mitch over here on Red Cape Sports does have. I had to grind my way, I had to start from $2 investments, flip them into 4, flip that $4 card into $10 and build my way up. Most of you know exactly what I'm talking about. But ultimately I wanted to make this video not to gloat or anything like that, but ultimately, straight up, I just want to share my top 5 methods for successfully flipping sports cards over on COMC. So beginning with my first method, that is going to be find arbitrage. Now, guys, I can't stress this enough. Finding arbitrage is probably the number one way to flip a sports card because realistically, your profit starts right away. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to show you guys an example here. This is a Johnny Gaudreau card. Now, honestly, I wasn't even necessarily looking for this Johnny Gaudreau card, but through another tip that I will mention later on in this video, I was able to find Johnny Gaudreau. I realized he was just $63, $64, whatever he may have been. But the next cheapest card online, at least on COMC, was right around $89. So again, I was able to buy that card for $60-ish, and even though I had it listed at just $85, I was still the cheapest person online offering that exact card for an instant profit. So that is exactly what I mean by arbitrage. It is probably the number one way to go ahead and make very quick profits. So ultimately, that is going to be the first tip that I have for flipping sports cards over on COMC. My second tip for successfully flipping sports cards, it's going to sound rather simple, but it's actually sell your cards. Guys, I cannot tell you how many people I see and how many people I have telling me and how many people I hear of really trying to squeeze that last little penny out of every deal. What I mean by that is maybe they're wanting $100 on a card, someone offers them $95, and they're just not budging. They're not making that sale. And what's happening is eventually finding that buyer becomes more and more difficult. Now, of course, sometimes that card can obviously continue to go higher and higher in price. But for the most part, guys, don't fool yourselves. If you buy a card for, let's say, $15, $20, and if someone's offering you $95, that's a really good return on investment. That's a really good profit. Again, guys, we want our money working for us, so when we're not making sales, when we're just holding all these cards, when someone says, oh, how much money do you have in cards? Well, you can't just say that all your inventory is how much money you've made or even how much money you have. Because up until the point where you actually sell that card, and I know a lot of people don't necessarily want to hear this, but again, up until the point where you've sold that card, it's not a sale. It is just a sports card. You need to sell the card to ultimately make profits. So again, guys, I know that a lot of people might not want to hear the cold hard truth, but sell your sports cards, use the inventory that you do have to make money to ultimately build up your bankroll, build up your next purchase, whatever it might be. But ultimately, my second tip is to sell your sports cards, make your profit while you can. Because as Les Alex said, it's better to sell a day early than it is a day late. Alright guys, so my third tip, which kind of realistically goes into the last tip, is to both send and receive offers. And what I mean by this is whether you're even buying sports cards. Let's say you find a card that is a phenomenal deal. You still want to more than likely send off an offer. So let's say the seller wants $50, maybe send them $40. And if they accept it, great. If they don't accept it, maybe they'll counteroffer with $45. Ultimately, you're still getting that card much cheaper than had you just went ahead, lost all control and just hit buy it now. Trust me, saving your money this way will eventually add up and you will eventually be able to ultimately buy, sell, whatever you want to do over on COMC. Now guys, I can't tell you how many times, even as a seller, I've been very happy. Cards have been extremely hard to move sometimes, but if the price is right and if people send you an offer, maybe I wanted $50, but at the end of the day, I'll gladly take $40 for it because a profit is a profit is a profit. And again, as I previously mentioned, you don't have a profit when it's just sitting in your inventory. My fourth tip for successfully flipping sports cards over on COMC is to browse the recently added section. Now, grab your pen and notepad because what I'm about to tell you can be a bit tricky to understand. You log on to COMC.com and you hit the go button. Guys, I'm just kidding, but that's literally it. You log on to COMC.com, you hit the go button, and make sure that you're actually toggled onto recently added. Now, the reason why this tip actually made this video is because this is one of my favorite ways for finding arbitrage, for finding great deals over on COMC, rather than just having your plan, and of course it's really, really, really important to stick to the game plan, not just going crazy and going for the next big thing. Of course, it is important to have that game plan, but ultimately, sometimes you're going to go looking on the recently added. Maybe there's a player that you really like that you were looking into that you just forgot about, and arbitrage is going to be there. Guys, I cannot tell you how often that sellers just get overwhelmed. They'll send 2,000 plus cards over to COMC, and that takes a very long time to actually go through the inventory manager and actually list all those cards for sale. So what happens is often maybe they meant to put a 2, but they actually put a 1. Maybe they meant to put a 6. So my fifth and final tip for successfully flipping sports cards over on COMC is to be patient. Guys, avoid the fear of missing out. You don't want to be like one of those people who went ahead and invested into GameStop. You're gonna lose your money and it sucks. I cannot tell you how often, even myself, I have fallen victim to this. I want to stick to my game plan. I had a guy I had in mind. I was only like $15 away from my bankroll to actually successfully buying that card. It was great arbitrage, but what did I do? This guy had a great hockey game and I went out and purchased his card. And ultimately, to this day, I am still holding on to that card. So again, guys, do your research. Don't fall into the fear of missing out. Be patient, right? You want your money working for you. And again, if a card, let's say there's a prestigious card that you want out there that's $200, honestly, sometimes the best buy that you can make all day is no buy at all. Just build up that bankroll, and the more money that you do have in your bankroll, the more great opportunities are going to present themselves. Guys, take it from me. I have gone through this. I have done very well. I have also had some trades, some flips that I thought I could do that ultimately did not work. So again, be patient, stick to your game plan, avoid the fear of missing out, and ultimately you'll be quite successful flipping sports cards over on COMC. So there you guys have it. Those are my top 5 methods for successfully flipping sports cards over on COMC. And hey, if you guys made it this far in the video, definitely be sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We do have weekly content around 3 times a week, Mitch and I. And also, please go ahead and smash that like button as it is the #1 way to support the channel here at Red Cape Sports. And I also want to remind you all that we do have a free Facebook group at Red Cape Sports, and we recently just hit 500 members in that group, which is phenomenal. Thank you all to all the OGs who've been in there guys, so many fun, cool people in that group, and ultimately it's just a really cool and fun group to be a part of. So if you are looking into getting back into sports cards or even just get more serious into sports cards, I highly suggest joining that Facebook group.